When Jeff opened a thrift store, it wasn't because he loved commerce. It was because someone in the underworld dared him. The sign out front was carved into a slab of cursed obsidian and blinked between realities every few seconds. It read, "Underworld odds and ends, slightly used, deeply haunted." Arthur stood outside with his arms crossed, watching as a taxidermied raccoon in a top hat waved from the window display. "This is a terrible idea," he muttered. Jeff popped out from behind the door frame, kazoo in mouth, and played a triumphant little trill. Nonsense. It's retail therapy, with screaming. The bell above the door was a human tooth. It rang itself, repeatedly, even when no one entered. Inside, the store was wrong. It looked like a thrift store. Sagging bookshelves, musty old clothes, mismatched furniture. But every item vibrated with bad decisions. A tattered coat rack spun slowly when no one touched it. The mirrors whispered, "If you looked too long." A jar of buttons blinked. "Jeff," Arthur said, pointing to a shelf full of doll heads. "Half these things are breathing." "Right? Vibe check. Passed." Arthur rubbed his temples. "You haven't priced anything." Jeff waved that off. "Pricing is a social construct. Let the universe decide." Which, apparently, meant flipping a coin possessed by the ghost of a 14th century miser who judged everyone. The coin screamed "denied" when flipped for a customer trying to buy a cursed waffle iron. The customer left. The waffle iron wept. By noon, Jeff had already sold a violin that plays itself, badly. Traded a cursed lava lamp for 3 teeth and a subway punch card. Accepted a live pigeon as collateral for a haunted scarf. Arthur tried to introduce structure. He created a pricing chart. Jeff ate it. Literally. He tried tagging items. The tags kept falling off, or teleporting. He even tried inventory software, which immediately got possessed by a glitch demon and started printing receipts in Aramaic that ended with, "You owe us 1 soul." It was about that time that the incident happened. Arthur had just picked up a dusty urn from the back room. It was whispering. Something about taxes and regret. Thinking nothing of it, he slapped a neon green sticker on it, $4.25, and set it on the checkout counter. 10 minutes later, a very polite young man in a hoodie strolled in, pointed at the urn, and said, "Yo, I'll take this and, I've got a coupon from your grand opening flyer." Arthur blinked. "What flyer?" Jeff appeared behind the man, holding an entire roll of flyers. "I might have distributed a few hundred. Minor detail." Arthur sighed. "Fine. Whatever. $4.25 and the coupon." The man handed over the money and the coupon, which weirdly read, "1 soul, any condition, redeemable immediately." As soon as Arthur touched it, everything stopped. Time hiccuped. The lights flickered. The raccoon mannequin shrieked. Arthur opened his mouth to scream, but no sound came out. Instead, his body froze mid-motion, his eyes glowing faintly blue as a soft pop echoed through the store. Then he slumped forward, eyes glazed. Jeff leaned over the counter. "Arthur? Buddy?" Arthur sat up slowly. "I am become coupon." Jeff blinked. "That's new." Arthur looked down at himself. He was translucent. His face was still there. Sort of. But his body flickered, like he was buffering. And there was now a small redeemed stamp hovering above his head. "I just sold my soul," Arthur whispered, "for $4.25. And a coupon." Jeff was unbothered. That's actually above average in the current economy. Arthur floated an inch above the ground. "Fix it." Jeff, already rearranging a shelf of haunted cereal boxes, replied, "Define fix. Like spiritually? Financially? Metaphysically?" Arthur groaned. "Jeff, I am dead. Or worse, I am store inventory." Jeff gasped, delighted. "Do you come with a warranty?" Arthur launched a stapler at his head. It passed through Jeff's skull and embedded itself in a wall-mounted portrait of someone named Uncle Beelzebub. The store was now officially open, and already down 1 soul. Jeff nodded to himself as he flipped the closed sign to "Why Not?" The air filled with whispers and mild jazz. "Today's gonna be a great day," he said, grinning. From the back room, a box labeled "Do Not Open" burst into flames. Arthur was not having a good day. He hovered 6 inches off the ground, mildly translucent and full of rage. His voice echoed like he was talking into a soup can. Every now and then, he glitched, his face warping into a JPEG of despair before snapping back. Jeff, on the other hand, was carefully balancing a skull on a lava lamp shaped like Elvis. "You're looking a little coupon-y," he said cheerfully. "I will haunt you," Arthur replied. "You're literally doing that right now." Arthur tried to slap him. His ghostly hand passed straight through Jeff's face. Jeff blew a raspberry and walked through a display of haunted snow globes, all of which showed the same thing: Arthur screaming in a burning office depot. "So," Jeff said, cheerfully wiping down a sentient mirror that whispered compliments like, "You smell like dominance. We love your pancreas." And Arthur had it coming. "Let's find your soul." "Oh, now we're interested in soul retrieval?" Arthur grumbled, arms folded, which caused a ripple in the air like a buffering stream. Jeff nodded. "I've got the perfect tool." He pulled out what looked like a magic 8-ball duct taped to a compass, humming ominously. The needle spun wildly before pointing directly to the ceiling, then caught fire. "Perfect," Jeff said. Arthur groaned. Their first step was the registry of misplaced essences, located in the back room, between the mop closet and a hallway that only exists on Tuesdays. The registry was not a filing cabinet, as Arthur had hoped. It was a living binder wrapped in screaming vellum. It had teeth. It did not like being touched. When Jeff tried to open it, it spat ink at him and whispered, "Not you again, soul thief." "That's fair," Jeff muttered, flipping pages while Arthur hovered behind him, looking increasingly ghost-like. After several pages of things like, "Steve H.'s soul accidentally mailed to Wisconsin. Trapped in a teapot, last seen insulting a priest. Filed under oops." They finally found Arthur's entry. Soul ID number A10213. Status: claimed via retail exchange. Redeemed by Penelope Grimsby. Bonus perk: feline transfer enabled. Arthur stared. What does feline transfer enabled mean? Jeff didn't answer. He was already unlocking the shop door. Cut to Penelope Grimsby's house. A tiny, disturbingly clean cottage with plastic flamingos out front and a lawn that smelled faintly of cinnamon and dread. Mrs. Grimsby herself opened the door. She looked like every sweet old grandma you've ever met, if those grandmas also radiated arcane horror. Her eyes glowed faintly pink. She wore oven mitts on her feet. "Oh, hello, dears," she chirped. "Are you here about my coupon?" Arthur, hovering behind Jeff, waved a ghostly arm. "Yes, that's my soul." "Oh, him." She gestured inside. "I already used it. Fed it to Mr. Whiskers." Jeff peeked around her. Sitting on the couch was a large orange cat with glowing blue eyes and a sarcastic aura. It licked its paw, paused, and said in perfect English, "This soul has notes." Arthur screamed. Mr. Whiskers stretched, yawned, and then proceeded to monologue like he'd just won an Oscar. "I rather like this one. So dramatic. So guilt-ridden. A bit dry, but lots of flavor. Tastes like burned-out potential and student debt." Jeff clapped. "He's a natural. Can we keep him?" "No," Arthur snapped. "We need to get my soul back." Jeff nodded thoughtfully. "Right. So, options? We could offer a trade." Mr. Whiskers flicked his tail. "You got catnip laced with forbidden knowledge?" Jeff checked his pockets. "I've got half a tuna sandwich and a cursed silly putty." The cat hissed. "Insulting." Jeff frowned. "Okay, plan B." He pulled out a glowing kazoo. "No," Arthur warned. "Jeff, do not. That is not." Jeff played a single note. A deep, reverberating tone rang out, summoning a glowing rift in reality. A burst of wind knocked over a flamingo. "You summoned me?" boomed a voice from the sky. "Hi, Craig," Jeff waved. "We need a soul receipt." From the rift descended a 4-armed bureaucratic demon in a necktie, holding a clipboard made of bone and unpaid taxes. Craig sighed. "Jeff, again?" Arthur, still glitching, hovered into view. "I was sold for $4.25 in a coupon. I want my soul back." Craig flipped through his clipboard, mumbling. "Let's see. Page 12. Retail exchanges. Coupon-based barter. Ah, here we go. He adjusted his glasses. Arthur's soul was indeed redeemed, transferred, and, oh wow, there's even a loyalty punch. 2 more, and she gets a free, infernal blessing. Arthur screamed again. Craig looked bored. You'll need to file Form S-9 for reclamation, in triplicate, by moonrise, on a Thursday, while wearing regret. Jeff perked up. We've got so much regret. But before they could start, Mr. Whiskers leapt from the couch, tail glowing. I challenge you, the cat declared, to the right of repossession. Jeff turned to Arthur. I love cat law. The right of repossession was, according to Jeff, an ancient feline soul duel ceremony, banned in most dimensions for being too spicy. Arthur was less enthused. He hovered beside Jeff in a shimmer of passive-aggressive ghost static, arms crossed. Explain to me again why I have to fight a cat for my soul. You don't, Jeff said brightly. I do. Technically, I'm the seller of record, and I've always wanted to legally battle a house pet. Mr. Whiskers stood in the middle of a chalk circle made entirely of spilled cat litter, eyes glowing, fur bristling. A crowd of spectral entities, thrift store mannequins, and one sentient vacuum cleaner had gathered to watch. Craig, the demon clerk, floated above with his clipboard. The terms are simple, he said. Victory transfers soul ownership. Combatants may use any items acquired through legal thrift transactions. Battle commences when the bell rings. Jeff pulled out a kazoo and played a single, deeply unsettling note. The fight began. Mr. Whiskers started strong, launching a flurry of psychic hairballs that whispered Arthur's insecurities. You peaked in middle school. That email you sent last week, full of typos. Your resume is unimpressive in every realm. Jeff, unfazed, blocked each attack with a haunted ironing board he'd found behind a cursed yoga mat. Your insults are valid, he said politely, but I moisturize with the tears of failure. Next. He hurled a decorative plate labeled World's Okayest Dad like a frisbee. It exploded midair into a rain of confetti that screamed in reverse. Mr. Whiskers hissed and summoned a spectral army of tiny phantom mice, who began dancing in perfect synchronization. Jeff retaliated by ripping open a cursed fanny pack and releasing a minor poltergeist named Todd, who did jazz hands and broke 3 shelves before vanishing in a puff of smugness. The chalk circle was now on fire. Arthur floated in a corner muttering, I am going to die again. I'm going to die from embarrassment. Jeff ducked behind a pile of VHS tapes labeled Do Not Watch and pulled out a possessed windbreaker. He put it on. Immediately, disco music started blaring from nowhere. Time to dance, Jeff shouted, moonwalking toward the cat. Mr. Whiskers summoned an aura of smug indifference so powerful it wilted 3 hanging plants nearby. Jeff, now glowing slightly, produced a coupon. Not just any coupon. The coupon. Craig's eyes widened. Is that a Tier 3 meta coupon? Redeemable for any single cosmic undoing, Jeff said proudly. He held it out toward the cat. I'd like to undo this soul exchange. Mr. Whiskers froze. No, Arthur breathed. There's no way it's that easy. Craig checked the fine print. Valid if accompanied by exact change. Jeff reached into his pocket and pulled out a greasy wad of bills, exactly $4.25. Mr. Whiskers let out a strangled meow. Curses, you couponed me. With a dramatic whoosh, the room filled with light. Arthur's body, such as it was, lurched forward. His soul slammed back into place like someone closing a really haunted Tupperware lid. He blinked, solid again. I feel whole. Jeff gasped. Arthur. You have texture now. Arthur touched his arm in disbelief. I'm not see-through. I'm warm. I have knees again. Mr. Whiskers sulked in a corner, licking his paw and muttering about betrayal. Craig made a note on his clipboard. Exchange complete. Soul returned. Coupon nullified. Store still cursed. Good luck with that. With a flash of infernal bureaucracy, he vanished. Later that day, Arthur was sweeping up demon glitter while Jeff rearranged a rack of capes that screamed when touched. You nearly got me absorbed by a soul-hoarding cat, Arthur said. Jeff smiled. Yeah, but you're back now. Plus we drew a crowd. Sales tripled. Arthur sighed. How much did we make? Jeff held up a receipt the size of a beach towel. 3 souls, $7, and someone left a jar labeled Grandma's Final Breath. Arthur didn't even flinch. Put it next to the cursed slinkies. The bell over the door rang with a whimper, and a woman stepped in holding a doll with no eyes. "Excuse me," she said. "Does this one scream before or after midnight?" Jeff grinned. "Why not both?" Arthur groaned and reached for the fire extinguisher. "If something explodes again, I'm taking a sick day." As the sun set behind the building, the sign out front flickered erratically between "Open," probably cursed, "Some assembly of soul required." Inside, Jeff added a new sign behind the register, "Returns accepted, but not recommended." Arthur looked up from the ledger. "We still have one problem." "What's that?" Arthur pointed to the mirror near the fitting rooms. Inside, their reflections were waving goodbye and slowly backing away. Jeff blinked. "Neat."